I do have a few questions in the queue. I've got you all as well. Keep raising your hand as I walk around. Believe it or not, I'll probably see you even from behind, but I just wanted to kind of give everybody a check of where we're at. We'll take till about 10 after, and we do have a couple of questions coming up, including Mr. Matthews.
Good afternoon. Fairly or unfairly, I have several acquaintances who consider themselves conservative Republicans in the traditional sense. And the 8,000-pound gorilla who's in the room, he's not on your ballot, but influences their thinking, is of course our president. And their perspective is they will vote for Republicans, but they will never vote for a Trumpian. So I have one question for the incumbents who are running with Republican after the name. And I have a different question for the two Democratic challengers. Will the two Republican incumbents unequivocally rebuke President Trump and say that the media is not the true enemy of the American people? And will they rebuke President Trump and say that the caravan is not an invasion of illegal aliens filled with criminals? And then for the Democratic candidates, what might be a key position that Tony Evers has, and if he's elected governor, he shouldn't necessarily count on your support. Where will perhaps an independent streak or sliver of your political personality emerge on some key Evers position that you're not so sure to be supporting? But first, is there a rebuke of President Trump on those two issues by those two men running with R after their name?
Charlie, what was the first issue? Sorry.
The two issues is the media the true enemy of the American people, and secondly, is the caravan an invasion of illegal aliens filled with criminals?
First of all, I think the local media has gone downhill since one reporter retired from the Manitowoc. Well, name any names. But no, I think it's. I'm not going to say that the media is the enemy of the people, but it is very polarizing that both sides of the cable media are coming from angles that are supporting different political agendas, which is really unfortunate and sometimes hard to get a straight story at the federal level. But I think it's my responsibility and everyone's responsibility to try to find the truth in all issues. In regards to the caravan, I definitely think we need to secure our borders. We can't have people marching on our borders without going through the legal process. I think that's just vitally important. About our president overall, I definitely wish he acted more presidential most of the time, but I think he's actually gotten some good things done for our country as well. So that's my views on our president.
As far as the media, you can actually tell pretty much when you, there's very few that aren't leaning one way or the other in the media, whether it be extreme to the right or extreme to the left as far as the media goes. I wish they would be more objective, and actually I agree with Senator Lemieux and Charlie. You did really, whether you like to hear it or not, you did a really good job on reporting unbiased in Manitowoc, and I think you were not part of the problem. As far as illegal aliens and caravan coming towards Wisconsin, I think as a grandson of German immigrants, both my grandparents on my dad's side of the family were German immigrants who came here, and they came here. It was a different system back then. It was the early 1900s, and they actually had to have what we called sponsors back then. I actually pulled up my grandmother's picture of my grandmother's ship that she came in Ellis Island for papers that she signed when she came here. They had to be medically cleared. They had to have the sponsorship, and what the sponsorship did is made sure that person was then being able to be taken care of after they came here. They didn't want back then. They didn't want to burden anybody with. We didn't have the welfare programs that we have now and what have you. But I think the reality is that we need to fix our immigration system. It's broken, and I think my grandparents that came here, if they were alive today, I think they'd be very proud of what their grandson has become, because they saw it as the greatest. nation in the world to live. And I still think the United States is the greatest nation to live in. More opportunities for anybody from any race, color, creed, or background to have an opportunity to succeed here in the United States. I think we need to fix it, and I think as far as the caravan goes, we need to. I think we're also going to be looking at how many jobs that we have shortages of right now. We need more people here, and if immigration is the way that we do it, that's one way of possibly getting more people here. So, who wants to go first? Jennifer or
Why don't we start with Mr. Welton?
Okay. So I think the question here is there a key Eber stance that I've got an issue with, or where's it coming from? Tony Evers has left the door open on tolling in Wisconsin, and going around talking to folks, I really don't think that that's the right decision moving forward in transportation. I think that's something that wouldn't be too keen on supporting in terms of a long-term funding solution. I would like us to look other ways around there. I do agree that we need a long-term funding solution, but I don't feel that tolling is the right route.
Thanks for that question. As for policies and things that want to be changed by Evers, like I said before, I directly want to represent the people that live in our community. So if there ever is a stance that our community comes up against that Evers brings forward that we're standing against, I will be that voice for our community. As of right now, I don't see anything, and it would take him to get into office in order for us to see which direction he goes. I know this isn't a question for me, but I want a quick touch on it just because I was a statewide organizer for immigrant rights. So if you don't mind, I'm going to quick touch on the caravan issue. First of all, they're not marching towards Wisconsin, they're marching towards the border. Here in Manitowoc County, so just so there's a little understanding, I think there's so much misinformation on immigrants and their contribution into not only our own community in our state, but our country. I think as Christians, we can't say, we're going to close our doors to people that are in need. And for two, we make up 13% of the dairy production for the state of Wisconsin, and on that 89% of the workforce are undocumented immigrants. So we already have a lot of, there's a dairy worker wife or her husband is undocumented in this actual audience. And the struggle is real. I know Paul had touched on welfares. Just there's this general misconception that people that are undocumented can get welfare benefits, which is completely false. They cannot. If you do not have a social security number, you do not get welfare benefits. So in terms, they're paying taxes with ITIN numbers, they're paying into our social security, they're paying into our government and not getting that benefits. So I think, yes, the immigration system needs to be fixed, but I think we need to look at on how we can protect not only the immigrants that are here on a state level, and protect our workforce, and that when we're looking towards visas, we need to look at the families that are already in our community. So I think that's a really great question, but I think until we move past the biases and until we actually educate people on how the immigration system works, and there still is a sponsor, but unfortunately if a person is not, if a person is undocumented, they come into this country, and they're married to a U.S. citizen, if they have more than one entry, they're automatically barred from becoming a citizen. So can we be regardless? And I know this because my husband was deported in 2012. We were married 16 years, beautiful children, had the same job for 10 years, pay taxes actually at a higher rate because we don't get earned income credit, we don't get child tax credit. And he was still deported back to his country only because of the basis of re-entering into this country. So I think we need to look at what we can do to protect the people that are already here and living, thriving, and actually in benefit to our communities. And I think it is a federal level, but there's a lot of things that we can do on a state level to make our communities safer and our communities better.
So there's kind of a bifurcated question.